न कामो न मोक्षा चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखं न मन्त्रो न तीर्थं न वेदा न यज्ञ अहं भोजनैव भोज्यं न भोक्ता चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं न मे मृत्युशङ्का न भीतिर्भेदा पिता नैव मे नैव माता न जन्म न मित्रं गुरुर्नैव शिष्या चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपो विभुर्व्याप्य सर्वेन्द्रियाणि सदा मे समत्वं नमोऽर्तिर्न बन्धः चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम्. Please join us in chanting the 9th chapter, verses 1 to 10.
Angajan ji, sorry, there's feedback. I think Aneshji's video is on.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyamyanasuyave jnanam vijnanasahitam yajñatva mokshase shubhat rajavidya rajaguhyam pavitramidamuttamam pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam susukham kartumavyayam ashraddhadhana purushaha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsaravartmani maya tathamidham sarvam jagadah vyaktamurtina matsthani sarvabhutani na chaham teshvavastitah na cha matsthani bhutani pashya me yogamaishwaram bhutabhrinna cha bhutastah mamatma bhutabhavanah yatha kashastito nityam vayu sarvatra go mahan तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानीत्युपधारय सर्वभूतानि कौन्तेय प्रकृतिं यान्ति मामिकाम् कल्पक्षये पुनस्स्थानि कल्पादौ विसृजाम्यहम् प्रकृतिं स्वामवष्टभ्य विसृजामि पुनः पुनः भूतग्राममिमं कृत्स्नम् अवशं प्रकृतेर्वशात् न च मां तानि कर्माणि निबध्नन्ति धनञ्जय उदासीनवदासीनम् असक्तं तेषु कर्मसु मयाध्याक्षेण प्रकृतिः सूयते सचराचरम् हेतुनानेन कौन्तेय जगदद्विपरिवर्तते
Hari Om, everybody. As some of you may be following, one of the news that is trending in social media and many other medium is suicide. Because a well-known actor, Bollywood actor, a number of others in Bollywood committed suicide. In fact, four suicides between May and June. Someone called Manmeet Garewal on 15th May, related to the actor, and Prakash Mehta, another suicide, the actor's friend, and the actor's ex-manager, Disha Sahani, and the actor Sushant Singh Rajput. That happened in 14th June. And media is talking about it. In the lobbies, people discuss about suicide. You know, as you know, because of the COVID-19 in last 3 months, according to Worldometer, about 440 something thousand people died. This is what I would call drastic disaster. Then there is another disaster, which is disaster in slow motion. That is, according to World Health Organization, about 800,000 people commit suicide every year. And we don't react to that as we are reacting to COVID-19 because that is in fast action. That is drastic. We tend to ignore the disasters in slow motion because it happens gradually, slowly, which is a dangerous phenomenon. Let me refresh your memory, the example of disaster in slow motion. If you place a frog in a bucket of hot water, the frog feels the temperature, the heat, and attempt to jump out of the bucket or the trough of water. Whereas, if you were to place the same frog in a bucket of normal water and gradually increase the temperature, the frog does not register the increment of heat because the frog's body get acclimatized to the heat and the frog dies eventually. That is, the disaster in slow motion works similar. So the world and we individual also do not respond to disasters in slow motion that is happening to every one of us. So the death by suicide is disaster in slow motion. Almost double the people die every day, every year, as the death happened through COVID-19. When people succumb to cardiac arrest or suicide, it is not a sudden death, it is a gradual death. Because they are not conscious of their negative lifestyle, people, when they succumb to cardiac arrest. When a person takes his life away, that also is not one fine morning he feels, okay, it's not enough, it's not worth to live, he goes and kills himself. No. It was a gradual reaction and gradual negative reactions to series of experiences that happens over a period of time. Therefore, we got to be leading a very conscious life. We hear almost every day people talking about health. Everybody is extremely concerned about health, physical health I am talking about. But what is tragedy is, the tragedy is that those very same people who are extremely cautious about their physical health are least concerned about their mental health. When a person commits suicide, it is because of the mental ill health. One has to be alert, conscious about the mental ill health that leads a person to commit suicide. Today, the tragedy is that, I often mention, with great respect to the medical science, when somebody feels unhappy, when they are mentally not feeling nice, immediately they rush to psychiatrists. They do a great job. But often they prescribe medicine. It so happened. About 2 weeks ago, maybe, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, a young man came to me for counseling. They heard about what I do. I usually don't do counseling because it's very time consuming, but exceptional cases I do. And he spent 2 hours with me and paid undivided attention to my discussion with him. Interactive indeed. And he left. And he called me back a few days later with a few clarifications. And he messaged me a few days, maybe 4 or 5 days ago, to check how am I doing. I asked him, how are you? I'm doing much better. And then he gave me feedback. He's about 35 years old. He has been battling some kind of emotional problem that leads to almost feeling depressed. And he has many other reasons according to him. But me as a philosopher, he is not mentally fully healthy. He said, I have been going to psychologists and psychiatrists, etc., for nearly 9 years. This is the first time somebody ever spoke to me the way you spoke to me. Whenever I go to a psychiatrist, straight away they tell me prescribe medicine, take this. But that doesn't solve the problem. I detest, this is the word that is used, I detest taking pills. When people are not mentally healthy, medicine, which is the gross tablet, is not the solution. They need more of psychotherapy than physical treatment. Yes, physical treatment takes care of the symptoms. The knowledge of Vedanta that is enshrined in the scriptures, whether it is the Bhagavad Gita or Upanishad or Bible or Quran or every Shastras, deal with reprogramming our thought. Among the youth, death rate among the youth, number 1, accident. Number 2, suicide. And when a person dies, whether suicide or accident or any other means, I take these 2 cases specifically, it is still disaster in slow motion. Because when a person dies through car crash or, it is a disaster in slow motion, gradual build up. Because there is a gradual process that happens. When the warning sign comes, neither the victim nor the relatives are not conscious. That is a dangerous phenomena. That people develop an attraction for speed and cars. One needs to be conscious of it. Coming back to suicide, the truth is that when a person takes his life, the truth is that, remember, nobody ever has a desire to die, including the person who committed suicide. Nobody. Nobody has a desire to die. Everybody has a desire to live. Those people who committed suicide also has a desire to live. It might sound paradoxical, oxymoron, yet that is the reality. People who committed suicide have no desire to die, but they are under the delusion They're caught up in the delusion. All right. So they have no desire to die, but they have a desire to escape pain. So if you ask, why do people commit suicide? Not because they have a desire to die. They have ambition. They cherish ambitions even moments before they commit suicide. They have aspirations. They have many, many other desires. And then you may wonder, why do they die? Why do they kill themselves? They have a desire to escape pain. They have a desire to escape depression. And they believe with a deluded understanding, delusion, moha. Remember, we studied Bhajagavad Gita last couple of months, which is also called moha mudgara, delusion uplifter. If any one of you have missed, it's there on my YouTube channel. You can catch it there. Delusion uplifter. It is actually giving us tools, psychological tools, emotional tools to handle the mindset, handle the depression. So these people who commit suicide are in a delusion. By committing suicide, they can escape pain. By committing suicide, nobody can ever escape pain. You know, it is like a child was given a mathematical problem to solve. The formula, the maths problem was written on the blackboard or the whiteboard. And he sat there and thought about the problem, worked on it. And he couldn't find a solution. He couldn't solve it. And eventually, a bright idea came into his mind. He wiped the board. He wiped the board. By wiping the board, he is not able to see the problem, the maths problem. Just because he is not able to see the problem, is the problem solved? Problem is not solved. Suicide is like that. Escape is like that. So suicide is a form of escapism from pain. So people who commit suicide have no desire to die. They have a desire to save themselves or escape pain and suffering. Now, when those people commit suicide, they don't realize that by death, life doesn't end. Life is a continuous process. Strictly speaking, there is no death, there is only life. Death of the body is not the end of life. Life continues. So even when a person commits suicide, his problem will start in next life exactly where he ended today. So one would rather face the problem squarely and manage the mindset, because the problem continues. Very often people say people commit suicide, it's because of depression. Yes, I would agree with that. But then what is depression? What happens in the mind of a person who's depressed? Yes, we can observe the physical manifestation. Person is generally quiet, and it's not a normal manner. There are people who display very happy temperament, still commit suicide. Some of the bodily reactions are these: they're quiet, they cry in their in their quietude, etc. They're attracted towards loneliness, etc. Very often when youth commit suicide, in my observation, in my experience interacting with parents who committed suicide, parents of the children who committed suicide, etc., some of them came to me for counseling, or some of the relatives asked me, would you have a chat to them, etc. And I found very often two main reasons. One is obvious, Many of you would know unrequited love. Second is their inability to handle their unrealistic ambition. Remember, ambition is fantastic. A person should live with ambition. If you don't have any ambition, then we are not fulfilling our energy, our enthusiasm, our power that we have. Ambition there should be. Every Shastras, Bhagavad Gita talks about it also. You got to have a purpose in life. If you don't have a purpose in life, we are living the life of a subhuman. We are not living the life of human, we are living the life of an animal. Animals merely exist. Humans have the ability to live for a purpose, a cause, an ideal. That's why you got to ask this question. Do you have a goal? Do you have a purpose? Do you have an ideal? Then you are living up to the dignity and the prestige of a human being. When I talk about goal and purpose and ideal, I'm not talking about a huge ideal like Nelson Mandela had to transform South Africa, or Gandhi had to transform India. Mother Teresa had the idea of transforming humanity through compassion, etc. In your own humble way, living beyond your personal selfish interest. That is what I mean by purpose. Ambition is great, fantastic, but if you do not know how to manage failure, you're not prepared for success. Many thinkers, authors, motivational books, self-help books, if you read, they all talk about how to bring about instant success, instant money. But I've read quite a few of those books, Western and the Eastern, but hardly any one of those books talk about how to be prepared for failure, how to handle rejection, how to handle the world not accepting you. It is very, very important. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is entitled Karma Yoga. And the 2nd chapter is entitled Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. When Krishna asked Arjuna to fight the fratricidal war, the Kurukshetra war, remember, just to remind you, it is Arjuna who did not want to fight. He wanted to get away. It is Krishna who inspired Arjuna to take up arms and fight against Kauravas and establish Dharma. And when Krishna inspired Arjuna, he taught him the art of right action, how to put in effort effortlessly. That is the secret of Karma Yoga. When you put in effort with so much of stress and depression that everybody is doing, but how to put effort effortlessly, wherein when you are chasing a great ambition, you don't feel that you are under pressure. Krishna also in that process taught Arjuna how to accept, how to take failure gracefully. Schools don't teach us how to take failure gracefully. Schools only teach you, you can send your children to the best school in the world. They don't teach them how to take failure gracefully. The universities don't teach them how to take failure gracefully. Bhagavad Gita teaches us how to be balanced in success and failure, how to be balanced in pleasure and pain, to be prepared for eventuality, not expect eventuality. You got to understand the distinction between being prepared for eventuality and expecting eventuality. Expecting eventuality is a negative state of mind. Being prepared for eventuality mentally is a positive state of mind. So when a person commits suicide, the person is in a state of delusion. And what is delusion? Moha. Very often Bhagavad Gita talks about that state, moha, delusion. Bhajagovindam, as I said, moha mudgara, delusion uplifter. Moha is when your thinking faculty is clouded, when your intellect is clouded. When the intellect is clouded, the mind becomes pessimistic. The mind becomes very cynical. In that state of mind, the person only sees the negative side of life. And he or she feels that that is the end of my life. He feels life is a gloom. There is no hope. That is delusion. And you find people who have unrealistic ambition. Ambition is fantastic. Unrealistic ambition is when he or she is not able to control his goal, ambition. When the ambition, desire for success is controlled by the intellect, it is called a purpose, an ideal, a goal, or ambition. When the same desire for success is not controlled by the intellect, it develops greed, avarice, obsession. Obsession for success. When they don't get it, they slip into a state of delusion, and that destroy their self-esteem. Whereas one should venture into chasing success first with ambition, with self-esteem, self-confidence, self-belief. Self-belief comes when we realize that I am the master of my own destiny. As I mentioned to you time and time again, that is why in India, ancient India, education began by teaching the children Atma Vidya, the knowledge of the self. When a person in that state of delusion, his self-esteem is totally destroyed. Self-confidence, self-belief. In fact, that is the hinge of success. When a person has got self-belief, he or she doesn't compare himself with the other people who are successful. He doesn't compare himself with the others, and he doesn't feel envious or jealous that other people are ahead of me, because he has the faith in his ability, trust in his capacity. As a result, he or she doesn't feel that envy or jealousy. No comparison. When a person has self-esteem, when the person has the trust and faith and confidence in ability, when he fails, he tries again and again, like Einstein, what's his name? Edison did. Thomas Alva Edison apparently failed about 999 times. If I got the number right, it's about few nines. Failed in the attempt to make light bulb. He failed. And 999 times he said, I did not fail. 999 times I learned how not to make light bulb. Only people with self-esteem can perceive their failure positively. And his when he was about 69 years old, almost ripe old age, while most people would have retired by then, his entire investment worth $22 million in 1914. Today it'll be several billions now, if you do the arithmetic. When the whole factory burned down to ashes, there was something that was not destroyed. That something that really remained like a rock. That was his self-belief. At the age of 69, he started the business all over again. He did not commit suicide. And he established General Electric, which is a multinational corporation today. Effect of self-belief. I can multiply examples. Without self-confidence, don't venture into achieving success. You'll end up committing suicide. Because people get into unrealistic ambition, chasing big dreams. And if they fail, they don't know how to handle. Everybody has a plan for success. Everybody. Who doesn't have a desire for success? Tell me. But very few people has a plan to accept failure gracefully. If media were to believe what happened to Sushant Singh Rajput, I happened to see his movie of Dhoni. Me as a cricket enthusiast, one of my trips in the flight, I watched the movie Dhoni. Enjoyed it. When you read about his ambitions, etc., he was rejected several times. And now also there was a lot of enemies, opponents, competitors who sort of took away his opportunities. Now, we are not talking about an actor, we are talking about human life, human mind. So when a person is in that state of delusion by a rejection or a loss or whatever it is, he feels that life is, that's the end of it. There are so many other blessings. Remember, in India, in world all over, or Indians all over the world, there are millions or hundreds of millions of youngsters, boys and girls, aspiring to enter anywhere near Bollywood, leave alone having a successful movie to their credit. Apparently, Sushant Singh Rajput has at least about half a dozen movies, and some of them are hits. And one or two has already reached 300 crore club. 300 crore. I mean, I remember 10 years ago, people talk about 100 crore. If the movie, 1 crore is 10 million, 100 crore is, you do the arithmetic. To get the box office success revenue for about 100 crore. And now the latest record is about 1,000 crore club. And only one movie in India has reached it, that is Bahubali. So now this person who committed suicide, allegedly, sad indeed, we send our prayers to the family members to handle it. However, we need to understand our mind. Apparently, he had about a movie that is about 300 crore success. Now, his mind is upon more movie to sign up. When the person looks at more success, more ambition, more followers, he forgets the blessing that he had. As I said, there are millions of youngsters trying to get into movie-dom, if you want to call it, or Bollywood. They're not able to. Stiff competition. Whereas he's there, he's achieved, he acted with some of the best actors. He forgets those blessings. He forgets his popularity. He forgets his health, his sacrifices the parents have made. He forgets his looks. He forgets the millions of admirers. By the way, there is one youngster, one youth, actually committed suicide because his hero committed suicide. I mean, that's the extent people can get crazy. A young boy of only studying metric. He says he's left us, this boy committed suicide because his hero Sushant Singh Rajput committed suicide, and he left a suicide note which says that if he can, I can. Hung himself. I mean, that is crazy. India. We heard of if the Indian cricket team loses the match, they either burn the players' houses, or they what do you call this, vandalize. Some of them even committed suicide. That kind of, I don't know if football, maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. I'm not very much of a football fan. So the point is, delusion is when the person does not see the blessing, only see the problems and challenges. Whereas one who is free from delusion sees both sides. In comparison to millions of people, I have achieved. I'm successful. And when you, the beauty of the laws of the universe is that when you look at the positive, when you count the blessings, the chances of you attracting more and more blessings in your favor is significantly high. And when you keep focusing upon the negativity challenges, the chances of you attracting more problems are guaranteed. Because the law of focus, remember, what is your most valuable resource? Your most valuable resource is your thoughts. Where are you investing your thoughts? Where you invest your thoughts will determine your life. Are you investing your thoughts in your blessings? Are you investing your thoughts in your curse, in your challenges? The law is that as you think, so you become. What you think is what you become. What you feel is what you will attract. What you imagine is what you create. It is not all about intelligence and hard work. While intelligence and hard work is important, what matters is where are we investing our thoughts. The Sanskrit word for thought is chinta. Chinta means thought. And the 22nd verse of the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita talks about this incredibly powerful and practical law as to what do we do with our chinta, our thought. 22nd verse of the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is almost the geometrical center of the Bhagavad Gita. It is the pivotal point of the Bhagavad Gita upon which the entire Bhagavad Gita is balanced. If the entire Puranas can be compared to a necklace, Mahabharata is the pendant. If the entire Mahabharata can be compared to a necklace, Bhagavad Gita is the pendant. If the entire Bhagavad Gita, 701 verses, can be compared to a necklace, the 22nd verse of the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is the pendant, is the geometrical center, the pivotal point of the Bhagavad Gita. The verse reads, Ananyas chintayanto mam yojanas paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yoga kshemam vahamyaham. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janas paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yoga kshemam vahamyaham. Chinta means thought. Anya chinta means other thought. Ananya chinta. In Sanskrit, if it is prefixed, it becomes negative. Ananya chinta means no other thought except the thought of your goal, thought of your blessings. To him, Krishna guarantees, I grant them yoga and kshema. Yoga means spiritual well-being, happiness, blessing, mental health, freedom from stress and depression. And material success. Kshema means material success. So, ask ourselves this question. Where are we investing our thoughts? In the blessings or in curse? The opportunities and the difficulties? Those people who entertain uncontrolled, unrealistic ambition always focus upon what they don't have compared to what they have. This actor in question, having achieved so much, having accomplished so much, he was not able to handle a few rejection. And the people close to him believed that some of the well-known actors in the movie industry sabotaged his opportunities. Maybe true, may not be true, I don't know. But even if it is true, when a person count the blessings, look at the positive things, magic happens in our mind. Miracles happens in our mind. That is the way to overcome freedom from delusion. It is very simple, yet a lot of people miss it. Who in the world doesn't have blessings? Tell me. Find one person who doesn't have blessings. Even the least provided person in the world has got plenty to be grateful for, but unfortunately, our selfish mind, our pessimistic mind, our egocentric mind, that is what is mental ill health. What is mental ill health? Sounds a big word. When a person is selfish, the person is mentally sick. When the person is egocentric, the person is mentally sick. When the person is not able to control his anger emotion, that is mental sickness, mental ill health. And those create a lot of challenges. It's very simple. And those things can only be cured by the spiritual knowledge. So when people suffer from unrealistic ambition, they forget the blessing. They only look at things what they don't have, what they are capable of, what they can achieve. And they don't look at what they've achieved. They don't look at, my God, how far I have come. I'm so grateful to God that I am the one who's chosen to be acting in the biopic of Dhoni. I am the person chosen to be whatever movies that he has acted. He doesn't look at that. I'm not talking about the person who commits suicide. I'm talking about human mind. I'm talking about you and me. Second reason, unrequited love. I've known many youngsters committed suicide because of unrequited love. They fall in love with a girl or a boy and they enjoy the relationship for some time. Beautiful relationship. And eventually, one of them changes the mind. If the boy were to change the mind, the girl is very infatuated. Remember, the cause of delusion, infatuation, which deluded people call love. Far from love. There is no love in the world. What we call love is only infatuation. Pure love makes us happy. That is why when my Guru Swami Parthasarathi, when he gets an invitation, wedding invitation, he is to tell us privately, says, I received this invitation as a funeral notice. Because they're finished. Neither the girl nor the boy is prepared to face the challenges of marriage. They have no idea what is marriage. Nobody has educated them. The parents have done a lot of preparation for wedding, hardly any preparation for marriage. They spend a lot of money, the most expensive venue, the expensive decor and expensive caterers, everything else, etc. Wedding lasts one day, marriage lasts for their lifetime. Hardly any preparation for marriage, a lot of preparation for wedding. So it's a suicide. So this girl who's infatuated with the boy, and relationship goes on for a while, and then let's say if the boy were to change the mind, he doesn't show her affection to the boy. He doesn't show her affection to the girl, rather. Affection to the boy, that also happens. Everything happens in the world. At least I haven't heard a suicide because a boy in love with another boy and unrequited love committed suicide. Maybe I haven't heard it, at least. So the boy is not showing her his affection to the girl. And what goes on in the girl's mind? First of all, anger. And he's showing her affection, his affection to somebody else. Boy is showing his love, attention to another girl. And what happened to the first girl? She develops an intense hatred to the other girl, number one. An excessive amount of envy, jealousy to the other girl. Hatred towards her erstwhile boyfriend. Whole host of negative emotions plays in her mind. When those negative emotions place in her mind, remember, when the emotions are overwhelmed, the reasoning faculty gets drowned. Intellect gets drowned in the tsunami of negative emotions, and she only sees the negative side. I can't get that boy's affection. He doesn't love me anymore. Is it really worth living without his affection? Her deluded mind asks that question. And unfortunately, the deluded mind answers. Why? Because the emotions have held the intellect the hostage. Our reason, our emotion hold the reason a hostage. When your emotions hold your reason a hostage, your intellect rationalizes in favor of the emotion. That is called, you can either be a hostage of emotion or you could be a hostage of ego. If you do not host virtues, it's understood you and me are hostage of our own ego, our own emotion. So you have a choice to host virtue or you become a hostage of ego and emotions. So when this girl becomes a hostage of her own negative emotions, hostage of her own ego, ask the question, is it really worth living without the boy's affection? Reason under the hostage of emotion answers it is not worth. And she doesn't look at the blessings. She's very charming, attractive. She's got brilliant academic track record, athlete, so many other virtues, favorite of the family and everybody. She doesn't look at all the blessings. She only look at that one thing. I can't get that boy's affection is really worth living. Deluded, hostage to my intellect answers. No, she goes and commits suicide. Escapes pain. People who commit suicide don't have desire to die. They're trying to escape pain. People who go through divorce don't hate their partner. They want to escape the menace. And because of that pain, they seemingly develop a dislike. Remember, in a relationship that started with love never dies naturally. Relationship never dies naturally. Relationship is killed, murdered by our own ego and selfishness. And that creates delusion. Therefore, what am I saying? We need to make the world aware. Your family members, who you come across, how can we develop that mental health? There is no gym to go. The only place that you can go to is the psychiatrist. Or there are special hospitals. If you don't know, it's bang up outside our house here in Preston. It's called Akiso. I believe people who are, it's a psychiatric ward or something. I haven't been inside because I didn't need to so far. So that's a place you go. But again, there is no, the treatment is symptomatic. People need to understand and gain responsibility of their inner world. That is where the psychotherapy helps. That is where the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita comes in, knowledge of Vedanta. Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya Yoga. The yoga of royal knowledge, royal secret. 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is entitled The Yoga of Royal Knowledge and Royal Secret. It is the royal knowledge because it is the highest knowledge. People don't know it. Krishna is using a special terminology. And it is royal secret because people don't know it either. So in the first verse that we read last Saturday, it's a Tuesday. To you who does not cavil, don't criticize the other people. Don't look at the other people slightly, belittling them, poo-pooing them. Verily, I shall declare the greatest secret. Only such people can benefit from this. Greatest knowledge together with wisdom. He's not just giving you bookish knowledge. He's giving you vijnanam, jnana, vijnana sahitam, along with the knowledge and wisdom. Having known, you shall be free from evil. Having known this knowledge, Krishna is guaranteeing you shall be free from depression. Remember, stress, distress, depression. Stress is minor. If you don't react, if you don't respond to stress, stress leads to distress. And if you still don't wake up, distress leads to depression, where one only sees the curses. He says, one frees you. This knowledge will free you from evil. You know, when we read this Bhagavad Gita, especially this 9th chapter, 9th, 10th chapter, it's not one of those, chapter like Karma Yoga, or chapter like Sthita Prajna. There is very specific, it's down to earth, it relates to us, it speaks to us. Whereas when you read these verses, we really, sometimes you can get into what you call giddy. Like when you studied the Upanishads, Visavasi Upanishads. Somebody told me, oh, by the end of the class, you were in a giddy because what was the talk is all about? You won't find any practical relevance. It's like, but still it will, if you approach it with the right attitude, he's going to tell us what is the right attitude. It will make an impact. It's like when you eat that dal, chawal, rice and roti and vegetable, everything, how does those becomes your flesh and bone? It's like that. You don't need to know. You only need to make sure that you eat the right type of food. Automatically your system, your stomach has the functionalities, engineering to convert those into your body, flesh and bone. Similarly, this knowledge, it liberates you from evil. Moksha se ashubhat. Shubham means auspiciousness, good. Ashubham means inauspicious, evil. Verse 2.
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitramidamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam Susukham kartumavyayam Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitramidamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam Susukham kartumavyayam.
The royal knowledge, the royal secret, Rajavidya Rajaguhyam, is a supreme purifier. It is the supreme purifier because it frees us from the worries and anxieties. Directly realizable. You can realize it in your own life. You can see it. It's happening everywhere. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram. It's a supreme purifier. Pratyakshava Gatam, directly realizable. All right. Meaning you can see it happening everywhere. Just as you can either see it happening in your own life or you can see it happening in other people's life. When you understand this, in fact, William Shakespeare expresses it so beautifully. He says, when you gain this knowledge, when you gain wisdom, you see sermons in stones, books in running brooks, lips in leaves, and good in everything. Stones will speak to sermons in stones, books in running brooks. You don't need to read books thereafter because the whole world will teach you. Lips in leaves and good in everything thereafter. You can see it happening. You'll see goodness everywhere. Directly realizable, dharmyam, righteous. Dharmyam means something that is valuable, something that is essential. It is the highest dharma. It is the irrefragable, inviolable laws of the universe. Therefore, he says it is dharmyam. Susukham kartum avyayam. Susukham, very easy to practice. And avyayam, imperishable. Sukham means happiness. Susukham means very easy. It is very easy, provided you have that commitment. So the royal knowledge, the royal secret, the supreme purifier is directly realizable, easy to practice. It's not complex, simple wisdom. You don't need to rack your brain. You simply need to have that attitude. Verse 3. Ashraddhana purushaha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani
Akshardhana purushaha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani.
O parantapa. Parantapa means scorcher of foe. Men devoid of Shraddha. O Arjuna, O Parantapa, referring to Arjuna, another name for Arjuna. Purusha, meaning men. Ashraddhana, meaning without Shraddha. I'll explain what Shraddha means. In this dharma, in this supreme knowledge that we are interacting, knowledge of the Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita, one without Shraddha in the supreme knowledge, without attaining me, return to the path of the mortal world. Mortal world meaning people who are tortured, going through pain and suffering. So, what if you don't gain the absolute bliss? He says, those men, doesn't mean women are not are excluded. No, men, you know, the Bhagavad Gita has got a what do you call this, nature that only masculine is used. All right, feminine gender is not excluded. So that doesn't mean to say that the ladies here amongst you is okay without Shraddha. No, everybody. One without Shraddha, you will find one of the very important qualification to understand and benefit from the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita is Shraddha. Shraddha, although loosely translated as faith, it is more than that. There is faith, all right? It is not simply faith. You have faith in Krishna or Bhagavad Gita. Everybody has got faith. That is simply a loose emotion. Faith supported by deep conviction. Faith supported by corroboratory evidences. It becomes an unshakable conviction. That is what he's talking about. It is reinforced with deep understanding. A lot of people have faith in a guru. A year later, they change their guru. They're like rolling stone. Keep moving from one guru to the other, wasting your time. Choose a guru, stick to him, his course of the path that you prescribe. Choose whoever you want. It's not that faith of emotional faith. I have devotion to that guru. That's not what he's talking about. It is not faith in your religion. Oh, I'm a devout Hindu. You can be a devout Hindu, you can be a devout Christian, you can be a devout Muslim, you can be a devout Buddhist, but be. That is your conviction, not just when you don't have that conviction, suddenly another faith come and tell you something else and say, oh, you lose your conviction in that. That's not the faith he's talking about. A faith, Shraddha, that capacity, that determination to reach the end of what you're pursuing, not just lose. So he is emphasizing, it is called Adhikara Nirupanam. Adhikara means qualifications of an adhikari. And one of the very important qualification of a true spiritual seeker is that Shraddha. So when you have Shraddha, your effort, your commitment in everything that you do as far as your study of Bhagavad Gita or whatever spiritual path that you're undertaking, in displaying that, not otherwise it becomes every Tuesday 1.5 hours. It's a spiritual entertaining, or it becomes an intellectual sensuality. It's an intellectual entertainment. It's okay even if you were to be meeting every Tuesday that we used to meet. Even otherwise, it's just become a spiritual entertainment. That's why I make sure that an assignment is a minimum ask for you to reproduce, because that will attract certain amount of commitment. So next week onwards, I will invite only those who, there are a few people who joined because we are doing online. You're welcome, and you're not obliged to write your assignment. You're welcome, you want to. But those amongst you who made the commitment will only be welcome from next Tuesday. All right. With that, yeah, the assignment. So I do understand some of you are going through a little bit of difficulties, and you have spoken to me, and I understand that. All right. So you have accepted that, but otherwise, all right, we'll continue next Tuesday. Don't go away. We'll conclude with the meditation. Sit in a comfortable sitting position. Let the environment create the right mood by turning off or dimming the light if possible. Fingers interlaced, placed on your laps, palms on your thigh. If not, your palms can be on your thighs, feet on the ground. Relax your body. Relax your forehead. Unclench your chin. Your mouth gently closed. Your eyes gently closed. Looking between your eyebrows. Relax your shoulders. Relax your legs. Breathe normally. Visualize that you are standing on peak of a hill and watching a calm and steady lake. Visualize cloudless sky. Feel the serenity within you and around you. Now, keep your attention to a subtle sound that you can hear outside and keep your mind tuned to it. When your mind slips from that subtle sound, gently bring it back again. Shift your attention to your breathing. Breathe normally. Feel the cold air as you inhale and warm air as you exhale. Breathe normally. We shall now chant the mantra Om. Breathe in. Feel the serenity. Absorb the silence. Inhale. Om Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you.